This is where we left in the previous video by displaying some loading, error, and success about our post request. And remember that our approach for this project is to develop the application feature by feature. And now we are done with the first feature, and that is creating of a post. Now we are going to display all the posts. Therefore, we need to get back to the backend and create a route for it. So let me close this, and this one is for the creation of the post, and this one is for listing all posts. And it goes like this: app.get, and then pass in the endpoint as API/version1 and then post, and then the callback function as async, and here we go, try and catch. And let's go ahead and get all the posts equal to await on the post, and we have a method called find from mongoose to fetch all the posts. Over here we can pass in some query, but for the meantime let's leave it as it is, and let's go ahead and send this one to the user. Pass in the rec and then the response, and here res.json, and then as an object provide status, and we will say success, and then message, we will say post fetched successfully, and then the actual post here as that. Alright, so let me also return the error from here. For the meantime, let's just use this as res.json. You will have a better way to handle the error. So let's get back to Postman and create one endpoint for it. Duplicate that and change this one to list or post. Alright, so the method here is get method, and let's look at the endpoint. Well, there is no / create here and send. And now let's see, as you can see, we got all the posts over here. So we are going to display this to the user. Let's get back to the front end because we are done with the back end. So over here, that is the client side. We are going to create a component to list or post. So I will say post list here, and I'm going to scaffold that, and here I will say all post here. Alright, so let's mount inside the app.js file. So here I'll bring in list post here, or post list, which is this, and let's see inside the browser, and we have our post. So how are we going to display all the posts? Let me remove this guy from here. So how are we going to display all the posts? And React query makes it pretty easy to do that by using a hook called useQuery. Therefore, we are going to create the API service inside the post here. Remember, I am inside the front end, and this is the file for making the request to the backend. So we are going to have one for listing or post. So we will say fetch or post here, and it goes like this: export const fetch or post, which is equal to async callback function and try and catch here. But for this one we don't need try and catch. And then let's bring in await axios.get method and pass in the base URL, which is base URL. Remember, the base URL ends with the / post. Therefore, I need to place this inside backtick and inject the base URL and add / create. So in here, just like that. And then let me assign to a variable called post here, which is equal to that. And we must return a promise from here as post on that, we have the actual data on the .data. So now back to the post list. We are going to use query from React query. So here, let's bring in the use query. Inside the component, I will say use query here, and it goes like this. Use query as a function call and then the object. The first property is going to be query key. The value for the query key is going to be used by React query for caching and to perform other logic behind the scene. And we have to place it inside an array as list post. And comma here, and then the query function, and we have the query function as the fetch or post here. So here as fetch or post. And that is it. So let's go ahead and assign to post data here, which is equal to that. So if I log the post data, which is this, and now let's see the magic inside the console. As you can see, we have the object or the result. On the data, we have the object and we have the actual post. How awesome it is. And if I open the dev2 under the queries, as you can see, this is the key that we provided. It is being used behind the scene by React query to perform some awesome logics. So if I click on that, now let's see the response. Let me reduce as that, and this is the data. And we have other actions, but let's focus on the actual response. Like I said, if you want to learn more about React query, I have a course on that. Great. So now if I open the post here, this is the result from the backend. So we can go ahead and destructure what we want. So here we have access to what is called is error, is loading, and then the actual data, and then actual error here. Have you seen how cool it is? In case we are using Redux, unless we manage all these ones by ourselves, but with React query, it is pretty easy. All right, so let me go ahead and then log the data here as that, and let's see inside the console. Let me refresh it, and it is inside the post. So here is going to be .post. So over here, let's go ahead and then display that as that, which is, so let's check for loading or error. So here I will say that in case it's loading, then we will display p tag and we will say loading. But in case we have some or a success, I think I need to grab a success also here as a success. And here, if it is success, then we will say that post fetched. And in case we have an error, that is, in case we have an error, then we're going to display the actual error as error.message. All right, so let's go ahead and loop through that. So here on the data, we have what is called the post. I'm using question mark, and this is called optional chaining to avoid using the AND operator. So this one is the same as in case we have data, then let's go ahead and grab the property on that as post. So this one is the same as this. All right, so here let's use map method, and inside we have access to the individual post, and let's go ahead and then return the GSX as that. Supposed to be as that. All right, so here I will display the title and then the description only. So let me provide h2 here, or h3, or let me use h2. And then we have post.title. And then the description, I'm going to use p tag here as p. And then provide the description also. With this one, save it and let's see. And we have the post. So let me add one more post, and let me say CSS, and let me say something or some content, and then add. As you can see, let's look at the last one, unless I refresh it, and we have the CSS over here. Have you seen how React Query is making our life easier? So we are done with the second feature. The next one is to be able to update or delete.